Hi everyone, today let's talk about the hidden power of spirits and why Aria the Great Spirit is the key to defeating One-Eye Black Dragon. As we see in the latest volume of Light Novel, the imitation of the Black Dragon appeared and it manifested from ice memories. And all the adventurer almost can't do anything against the Black Dragon. Luckily Ryu was in there to cut the power of the dragon in half with her ultimate debuff skill. But even after doing so, their fight still remains and almost nothing has changed, because it's still far too strong for all the adventurer. Moreover, this black dragon is only imitation, and its power can't even compare to the real black dragon who defeated the strongest Zeus and Hera Familia 15 years ago. Let's talk about the power gap mystery. Everyone thinks raw power is the only way to kill the one-eyed black dragon, but this is a lie. If physical force alone could win, the Zeus and Hera Familia wouldn't have been slaughtered because they have the power to do so. They even had a level 9 Empress, who was the strongest being at that time, and a level 8 Maxim, who was the strongest hero. We only had one answer to that, and it's the dragon invulnerability. Just like the Juggernaut is invulnerable to any magical type attack, but a little different to Black Dragon because it has a cheat-like shield. Having any magical and physical attack won't work against it. So the question is, if raw power is not going to work, how Albert Wallenstein able to injured the Black Dragon 1,000 years ago? The answer is Aria's bloodline, the only elemental divinity capable of bypassing an impenetrable defense of this Black Dragon. During that time, there was no goddesses descended to the mortal world, and the only capable of giving blessing to any human is the spirits. Well, is on another level, if the Great Spirit was the one giving her blessing. Moreover, Albert Wallenstein is theorized to be at least level 10, but he can only injure the Black Dragon one eye, even having the blessing of the Great Spirit Aria. Stop waiting for a hero to reach level 10, because numbers won't save Arario from the Black Dragon. Even the strongest adventurers are useless against a monster with total physical immunity. The only catalyst that matters is the hidden strength of the Great Spirits, proving that Aria lineage is the dragon's only weakness. Now let's go and talk about why Aria is the key to defeating Black Dragon. Aria, the Great Spirit bloodline, provides the missing link for overcoming the one-eyed Black Dragon's overwhelming physical immunity. The gap between Ice Wallenstein internal conflict and the ancient pacts, proving that elemental divinity, not just raw power and strength, remains the only capable of piercing the Black Dragon impenetrable defense. Let's go deep dive into it. We've been looking at Ice Wallenstein all wrong. Her internal conflict isn't just character growth. It's a hint at an ancient pact that predates the gods themselves. By bridging the gap between spirit mana and the ultimate calamity, we discover why Aria is the only key to piercing the dragon's immunity. When the goddess descended to the moral world, spirits started to decline their intervention in the Age of Heroes. And the reason how they loss of direct elemental contracts weakened modern adventurers. The transition from ancient spirits to the Falna system traded raw elemental divinity for structured growth, leaving the world vulnerable to high-tier monsters. Ice Wallenstein's unique physiology as a half-spirit and her hidden bloodline acts as a conduit for primordial power. The significance of Ariel as more than just a wind enchantment, identifying it as a fragment of Aria's original divinity intended to pierce draconic immunity. Ice is now regards as the ancient pact as the ultimate weapon, the Great Spirit's sacrifice, and the contract that binds the fate of the mercenary king's lineage to the destruction of the calamity. The battlefield synergy between Bel Argonaut and Ice Ariel acts as a functional resurrection of pre-Falna warfare, directly mimicking the ancient cooperative strikes where human willpower merged with spirit elements to pierce the defenses of Black Dragon. In the era of the first heroes, mortals lacked divine stats, and instead relied on contracts with great spirits to grant them elemental power, a dynamic epitomized by Ice's own parents, the mercenary king Albert Wallenstein, and the wind spirit Aria, whose synchronized strikes were the only force capable of scarring the one-eyed Black Dragon. The one-eyed Black Dragon is not a conventional dungeon boss meant to be overcome by simply accumulating higher Falna levels, but rather a catastrophic calamity that demands a living ritual completed through the fusion of mortal will and spirit divinity. As the ultimate apex monster that easily annihilated the level 7, level 8, and level 9 pinnacles of the Zeus and Hera Familia, the dragon represents a conceptual wall that the modern quantified status system cannot breach through raw numbers alone. Defeating it requires replicating the framework of the ancient era, where the absolute limit-breaking resolve of a mortal hero acts as the ignition spark for the boundless, elemental power of a great spirit. This makes the final battle less of a standard raid and more of a synchronized cosmic ceremony, a necessary convergence where a hero's unyielding willpower, like Bel's Argonaut, completely merges with a divine elemental conduit, like Ice Spirit Wind, to forge a strike capable of shattering the Black Dragon. The moment Ice Wallenstein finally transcends her deep-seated internal trauma will not be marked by a cold increase in her Falna stats, but by the shattering of the pitch-black flame of vengeance that has long restricted her true potential. For years, her driving force has been a self-destructive, black-tinted hatred aimed at rescuing her past, an obsession that actively constricts the pure, untainted wind of the great spirit Aria dormant within her soul. Her true transcendence will manifest when she finally relinquishes her role as a tragic avenger seeking a savior, and instead embraces her own agency alongside Bel Crenel, shifting her inner catalyst from desperate malice to absolute, unyielding hope. When this psychological breakthrough occurs, her aerial spell will shed its raging, tempestuous constraints and evolve into a blinding, pristine vortex of wind, a complete awakening where the conceptual divinity of her mother fully fuses with her own mastered swordsmanship, unleashing the true limit-breaking power of the Great Spirit to finally pierce the darkness of the one-eyed Black Dragon. The rescue of Aria from within the one-eyed Black Dragon is a strict tactical necessity because her captive spirit divinity serves as the literal core engine fueling the monster's conceptual invincibility. In the ancient past, Aria was swallowed by the Black Dragon, corrupting and utilizing her boundless wind to generate a defensive barrier that actively repels or nullifies standard divine and physical attacks. Trying to slay the dragon while it possesses Aria is a mechanical impossibility, as the beast can infinitely regenerate its hide using her stolen elemental authority. Therefore, extracting Aria is the essential first phase of the engagement. Releasing her instantly collapses the dragon's divine protection, stripping away its immunity and forcing the apex calamity into a vulnerable mortal state that can finally be pierced by a hero's strike.